Hello, South by Southwest. Oh my God, we're here. You guys, we're here. We are talking about Alone Together. We have the directors here, Bradley and Pablo, and this crazy little pop icon, Charli XCX.
Hi.
Oh my God.
Hi.
Thank you guys for joining me.
Thanks for being here. I'm excited to be grilled by you.
Oh my God. Anything can be asked today, let me tell you. Okay, so we only have, literally the clock is counting down. We have 23 minutes. I'm gonna rip through these. Let's do this, South by. Get your drinks. Let's fucking go. Okay, so first question. I would love to know just when you guys first met, kind of, I know that you've worked together before this, so I would love to know kind of your creative relationship, and then how the beginnings of this movie came to be.
Cool. Is that to Charli or to us?
I don't. Yeah, whoever wants to raise their hand. I love Zoom. I literally love this. Which one?
Okay, we'll take it then. Well,
Okay.
Yeah, you take it.
Okay,
I think we first met Charli in person on the set of Vroom Vroom, which is a music video we did for Charli in 2016. And we'd been talking a lot before that just about that video. And since then, we've done multiple music videos together. And yeah, we love working with Charli, and we have a really great connection. I think we align a lot in aesthetically and what we're interested in, and we really love Charli. We're angels. I think we describe ourselves as that too.
I'm number one angel. You know that. Nice try.
And
okay.
And basically, how did this documentary come about? Well, okay, so in the very early days of quarantine, we, like everyone else, were, suffering a little bit. It was like very uncertain. It was, we were super anxious times, and we caught wind of this party happening. It was like LGBTQ run called Club Quarantine, and this party was happening every night of the quarantine. And basically, I think we heard of it because Charli did like a surprise set. So we joined that night, and basically, just given the circumstances we were in at the time, we went in and suddenly there's just like thousands of kids all around the world, and people just like connecting, and it was just a really heartwarming experience, and it felt like genuinely just like by being present with each other, there was something very reassuring about it. And me and Pablo spoke about it. We were like, it'd be really cool to try and document this in some way. This seems like a really interesting new age of sort of communication and, yeah, just like partying, I suppose. And about a week later, we saw that Charli had announced to her album, this project, and it basically, we just thought like this really encapsulated perfectly sort of innovative new way of like being creative and connecting with people during this time, and it felt like a great subject for the film. So we text Charli, and here we are 1 year later.
He just throws that out there. So we text Charli. we got Charli on. We're making a movie. Okay, so what is so like beautifully stressful to me about this movie is the thought of revealing something before it's done. And I guess this is kind of a question. Yeah, it's definitely a question for Charli. What was that process like of, you're going on these lives, you're playing demos, which I feel like in music is such a like, you don't do that. You deliver something that's shiny and perfect and fully formed. Was that liberating for you, or was it terrifying, or maybe both? And like in that process, would you ever do something like this again? I'm going to ask you 45 questions at once. Go.
I love that. It's definitely both liberating and kind of scary, I suppose, because as you said, it's like you don't you know, it's everything's so spontaneous and reactionary. You can't really control what's happening whilst you're like playing something like an idea that is really, really in its like infancy. But it's also, it's kind of like what's fascinated me about like BTS stuff. Like, and it was part of the reason why I kind of wanted to make the album in such a public way, because I feel like there is this sort of like controlled version of BTS, you know, like in pop, in the world of pop, there's the kind of BTS music video which is like so perfect and edited and everyone like looks fucking great all the time, and they're teasing like snippets of songs, but no one actually really that I can think of ever shows like the true kind of like process. You always see everything with hindsight. You see like someone like with like amazing lighting and BTS photographers like compiling like the song in the studio once the song's already released, kind of thing. So people already have the kind of reference point of where it's going. So it was kind of interesting to me to be like genuinely, truly kind of open with my fans. And I think one of the reasons why I felt comfortable to do it, it was still scary, but I did feel like confident that they would sort of understand my processes, because they are very smart. And I think we have built over the years like a relationship together because of the musical choices and directions I've gone in, that I knew that they would overall get it. Even though when I did tweet the verse lyrics for anthems on Twitter, everyone was like, these are the worst lyrics ever. And I was like, you guys take a seat. And then it came out, and anthems is like one of my favorites. So yeah, I'm a fucking genius.
You're like, you little assholes. Just wait. You're gonna gag.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well, we thank you for the process, because it really is. It's so fascinating to. I'm really interested in this idea of like BTS, and I guess this is a question for the boys. When you have all this footage, and truly, I think it's some of the rawest footage I've seen in like a music doc, because at no point is Charli sitting down in like a studio where you guys are behind the camera. So what was it like as directors to make something that you're not really in control of at all? Like you can control the narrative obviously later to some degree, but what was it like to just receive footage that maybe, you know, you didn't set up with proper lighting, or, you know, like kind of you weren't in the room to maybe help a narrative? I don't know. South by is like, why do we ask him to do this? Does that question make sense? I guess just like you're given all this footage
totally.
you didn't set up. I'm so curious what that was like to just have this, and was it the scariest thing ever?
Yeah, it was pretty scary for sure. And I think, as Bradley was saying, like we started this project once sort of everyone else, like the public, was seeing it start as well. So we weren't like prepared. We were like 3 days late almost, and had to like play catch up. So we didn't have kind of like a preset idea of what the film was necessarily going to be about at that point. We knew we were interested in the collaborative aspect of the project and Charli and that kind of stuff. And yeah, like we were obviously not able to attend any of the shoots in person. So every few days we'd receive like a Dropbox link with footage, and we'd kind of find out about what was going on inside the house, just like that, in that way. And I think like, yeah, it was really scary, and also just like a lot of information to take and sort of wrap our heads around, and sort of try to like, at the same time we were talking to like loads and loads of fans every day all around the world, like spending 8 hours a day on Zoom, and trying to kind of make sure that whatever we were talking to them about sort of made sense with what Charli was capturing and all that kind of stuff. But I think, yeah, it also meant that we were surprised by a lot of the things that came in as well. And I think the story ended up having a lot more depth and richness that we kind of weren't expecting. Like we didn't really know anything about Huck and Charli's relationship. We didn't really know that he had moved in, and we were kind of finding that part of the story just like unraveling before our eyes. Also, you know, as it says in the documentary, Charli had recently started going to therapy. So there's also this like journey of self-discovery going along with the album as well, which, yeah, we didn't kind of see that coming. And then it just took us a long time in the edit, really. Like, we just collected as much as we could as the project was happening, just like everything.
Yeah.
And then it took a long time in the edit to sort of like pinpoint these three sort of stories which are happening and figure out how to weave them together. And that was, yeah, a really hard, long process. I don't know if
I think
Bradley, you want to
also,
say anything
literally,
about it.
yeah, just to add on that, I think, and maybe this is like similar for Charli in the way that, like, I guess by like writing live, you sort of lost an element of control. Like, you know, you can't fully control like the full package of what your fans are seeing. It really is like happening live. I think like maybe that sort of inspired our process in some way too, because I think like, you know, we're primarily used to working on big music video sets where like literally we have control of absolutely everything, down to the shot, down to the lighting, down to you know, and even before that we worked in animation, so it was like control down to the decimal point. I think probably one of the things we've learned or like got out of this the most as filmmakers actually is like completely losing control, because you really do, like, you know, you have to take yourself out of the seat of like the filmmaker with the vision and just let the story sort of speak for itself. And that's like a really, I think that was a really great what started as a limitation. Sorry, my dog is growling. What started as a limitation became something very, very positive.
yeah. I'm so also, you know, what I was saying to you before this, which I should have saved only for panel. Oh my God. I'm really interested in how fans, the Angels, Charlie's Angels, are a part of this. And I'm so curious, like watching it, I was kind of ready for that moment in every music doc where there's like a 30-second blip about the fans and then we move on. But you have stories of these people that Charlie's music is literally a huge part of their lives. I'm so curious how you found these Angels and what that process was like of having them film really intimate things about them and kind of their journey of also hearing this, because that was one of my favorite parts of seeing the other side of the people who are consuming this. But also, it's not just a consumer anymore. It's somebody who's actively a part of the music. Like, they're tuning into lives and like saying words to help their favorite artist make a song. Like, that's psychotic. I love it. But how did you find the Angels, I guess, is my main question.
Well, I think just start by saying Charlie's fans are like the best fans ever. Like, I'd say like aside from aside from
I'm like putting on my lip gloss. I'm like, yeah, bitch, duh. Okay, yeah.
I can really say genuinely from like for both of us, like the process of talking to these kids and just really connecting with them will be like something that we will always sort of cherish and remember. Like, they really did open themselves up to us in a way that like I don't think we really expected, but I think it sort of speaks to Gen Z, to be honest. Just unbelievably open, caring, compassionate people. And the way we actually found them was I think we were browsing through like comments based on Charlie's post and tried to find people that had, or sort of sounded like they'd been touched quite deeply by the project. And then from that, we then started talking to them, and then like they would introduce us to someone else, and then like before we know it, we had like a whole sort of production team, the Angels production team, sort of helping us source and find
Truly.
stories.
Oh my God. No, so did everybody get a camera? I'm the only person who didn't get a camera.
No,
They
not
all
all
have
of the
cameras.
fans. No, we sent some out. Other people just use their iPhones and things like that. But yeah, I guess that was like another really interesting part of the casting process, is that like they also had to be able to film themselves, and like I guess presenting is like also really hard. And a lot of the times like these kids like had issues with self-esteem and anxiety and things like that. And it's really hard to like recognize the value in your own story and like turn the camera onto yourself. And yeah, I think that was like an interesting sort of like challenge to negotiate along the way. And we had people like dropping out who had like amazing stories, but weren't able to like, didn't have the confidence to sort of share them that we would have been able to like capture if we were able to sort of like go and spend time with them ourselves.
Yeah. Well, all of it is so intimate. It's like these moments are like in everybody's bedroom. You know, it's not like a studio interview where, again, they get to come and like get their makeup done. And I think that is what every time I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I would have done that. I would have been stressed. Yeah. I would have done it. You just didn't ask. Awkward. Oh my God. I want to talk to Charli now. My God, you guys, I'm only talking to the boys. Charli, I'm so curious. Like, okay, so, in kind of, had you always, with the way that you make music, have you always done things that are kind of on the spot? I think, you know, we know so many musicians who kind of sit on music for a long time or won't put it out or really take so long or question it so much. Was this kind of the first time you had made music like this, like on the spot? I mean, I don't think that I've heard of you making every album with like a camera in your face as you're doing it, but I'm so curious, like that process for you, if that was like normal or if this was the first time you had done it, and if in that process you would like do that again, just because obviously the music slaps.
Thanks. Well, yeah, I've never made music with a camera in my face as much as with how I'm feeling now. That was definitely new. I've always tried when recording projects to like film myself, but I really just give up after about 5 minutes because I find it very distracting, and I actually hate being on camera. Like, it's probably my least favorite part of what I do, and I know that I told the guys this many, many times. One point where I was like, we're not doing the documentary, it's over. Yeah, so I don't really film myself making music. Also because, as you can see in the documentary, I sound fucking mental without auto-tune. I sound absolutely deluded. That's not true. And no, it is. It's so crazy. I was like, guys, like, you can do whatever you want in this edit, but like, you need to put like a little like bit where I acknowledge that I sound crazy without auto-tune, because otherwise people are gonna watch this and look at me going like, and I'm crazy, you know. So those are a couple of reasons that I don't tend to film myself. But when it comes to like the spontaneity of the music making, yes, I really do like to work quickly. I've never made an album in 5 weeks before. That was definitely, I mean, made an album, like made all the visuals, released it, etc. That was completely like new and really crazy. But I definitely like to work fast, you know, with a previous mixtape, Pop 2, and also Number One Angel. Those were made quite quickly. Vroom Vroom was the music element was made probably during like 1 week, like, you know, the initial songs, and then we kind of went back in and worked on them. Because I've sat on songs before at the request of my label, and it's just, I'm not very patient, and it makes me lose interest in the song. It doesn't feel as current. So I definitely enjoy being spontaneous with writing, and that's something that I think I'll always continue to do. I'm not sure that I will as intensely document myself again, because one, I've done it now. But yeah, sorry guys, no part 2.
Yeah, they're like, okay, we're out.
Yeah, bye.
I love you, South.
And 2, I'm kind of into, and like, I think you can see this if you are like a follower of my work. Like, I am into quite strong contrasts and conflicts and like quite aggressive changes. So I think the next thing I do will probably feel like completely opposite from how I'm feeling now and what I did before, like just because that's more inspiring to me to make it completely the opposite. Sorry, I've spoken for ages. The clock is running down. Ask another question.
No, the clock is like absolutely terrifying. It feels like we're on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I don't even know if they have that. They have the clock countdown. Guy in my ear, yeah. South by. I'm so curious, is because of, do you think, you know, this is like obviously like really personal, like you're talking about you and Huck, who like steals the show. Like, are you kidding me? Huck, King. I know. Do you think you felt more comfortable? He really should be. That skin. Don't even get me started.
Hire my boyfriend.
Literally, you guys, he's already signed to CAA. He got signed the second this was released at South by. I'm just curious, like, do you think because of the cameras, also you felt, was it like you were more comfortable putting really personal things about you in these songs? Like you know, the therapy moment where you're talking so openly about therapy is something that I don't think we see a lot. But do you think because you were on camera, or maybe a mix of camera, quarantine, therapist, that these lyrics are, you know, so personal in a way that I feel like, you know, is not unprecedented for you, but it feels like a deeply personal album?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a combination of all of the things that you mentioned. Whilst I have got personal before, I think, yeah, the combination of all of this happening at once definitely made it sort of easier to, and also it just felt like everything was feeding off each other. Like really, like that 5-week period, I almost don't remember it because it was so intense and it was so otherworldly. That it just, yeah, everything fed each other. So I do think that's why it was probably easier. And I think the kind of therapy and the filming gave context to the lyrics as well. And yeah, everything just worked together. So I was really in it, basically. I was just like in it.
Yeah. And had you done like Club Quarantine things before? Like when was the dawn of Club Quarantine? Like right at the start?
I don't know the exact date, but they were pretty quick off the mark. And I DJ'd, I don't want to say one of the firsts because I don't know that that's true, but let's just say it because I am time.
Honey, deal with it. You heard it first, babe.
Yeah, I played Taxi in a DJ set, and like the rest was history, basically. But they've been around. I mean, they've been like a quarantine like savior, I think, as the guys were saying, for these kids. It's been like a real like safe space for people to express themselves and be who they really are, and that's been like kind of like a second home, like a virtual second home for people during this time, which is really amazing.
I was dying at that part in the movie where it's like Club Quarantine and everyone's dancing, and you like for a moment feel the euphoria of like being at a club around all these just, like, disgusting bodies. Yeah, that was probably one of my favorite moments. We only literally have 40 seconds. I'm so stressed. But I have to talk to you about the animations. Because did you guys make those animations? I'm obsessed. I need one made of me. I mean that. How did that get into this?
We worked with a studio, a Spanish studio on those. But yeah, the idea was we were basically kind of going off what Charlie said. It was supposed to sort of represent this virtual second home safe space that we saw kind of being created by this project. Sorry, that clock is really hitting.
Oh, she is looking at us and she's saying, honey, wrap it the hell up. Okay, well, I just want to say thank you all so much for joining me. I think this movie is so special, and I'm not just saying that because I'm number one angel. But yeah, is there anything else you want to say about this movie? Did I forget something?
We should say go to Club Quarantine tonight because that is the official Alone Together party, and you'll be able to recreate the ending of the film, which is a very euphoric, iconic moment.
Oh, heaven!
Yes, everybody.
And it's on the South by page. I think it's on the South by event page. But if you do club quarantines, like
in the chat.
you've got your poppers ready. You're ready to go. Yeah. I love you, everyone. Thank you, South by. Thank you, Charli.
Thank
Bradley
you so
Pablo.
much.
Thank you for being so
Thank you.
honest and perfect. Wow. Mwah. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.